Hello, everybody, and welcome into the TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs. We had a pretty relaxed show today, but a lot of good stuff to get into still. We had Richard Zane in the Go Hour in a replacement of OB, who's on vacation. A little bit of Matthew Dawson on the Rewind today, as he was talking about some transfer portal quarterbacks. Let's see, Logan Lednicky on the Rewind as well. She's in Brazil right now playing some USA volleyball, and then Billy Liucci on the Rewind to close it out.
Week 3, this one could be the one. Could be Texas A&M at Notre Dame. Some of the other candidates, Arkansas at Ole Miss. I don't think that moves the needle.
No.
Wisconsin, Bama, doubt it. Clemson, Georgia Tech, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to find times where they spread the wealth around, try to find an ACC venue to go to. That might be one where they stop off in Atlanta.
Actually, going back to my thinking for that first game, I don't know if ESPN will want to do game day for an NBC game. You don't want to promote the other I know they have.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that is
for week 1?
No. Because the A&M Notre Dame game is
Notre Dame.
NBC.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking maybe not. And plus, it's a night game in South Bend.
Yeah.
So that just kind of seems they've done it before, right? I believe it's actually the year 2018. Michigan and Notre Dame played a night game, Labor Day weekend in South Bend, and game day was there.
Right.
It was the week before game day came here for Clemson.
That's
the Clemson
right.
game, Jimbo Fisher's, I believe that was his first year. But game day was there, still on NBC, stuff like that. So they've done, like you said, they've done it in the past. I don't know if there's going to be times and opportunities for them to go to South Bend in the rest of the year.
Sure.
Especially for big name opponents. I know USC goes up to South Bend later on. So potentially that's a game they might highlight as a trip up to see the defending national runner-up.
Now, what this list does not take into account is the storylines that develop throughout the season, right? So there's a lot. Something's going to develop.
Well, that's why you were like, I don't think they're going to go see Arkansas and Ole Miss. But what if Lane Kiffin does something crazy on Twitter that gets the college football world talking?
What if both of them are undefeated and that's their only opportunity? So I don't think that'll be the case. Week 4, A&M's got a bye. Here's some games to consider: Florida at Miami. That could absolutely be it. Auburn at Oklahoma. Illinois at Indiana, Arizona State at Baylor, Michigan at Nebraska.
I'm torn between Florida at Miami. Mm-hmm. No, you grew up a Canes guy.
Yep.
I don't know exactly where they would broadcast from the campus of Miami. Would they go to Coral Gables, or would they do it from outside Hard Rock Stadium? I don't know if there's.
I think you have to do it from Coral Gables.
I don't know if there's an ideal way for them to do game day.
Yeah,
with the Hurricanes.
You got the 21 version of the portal allowed players to transfer freely one time. Right, but this is actually the first transfer portal cycle that you're seeing where people can transfer unlimited number of times without consequences of having to sit out a year. So you're looking at, and quarterback specifically gets a lot of the attention in the portal because that's in high demand. There's only one quarterback that's starting on the field at a time. So it is a staggering number in college football, and these are Matthew Dawson projections. So put an asterisk there, because you got to kind of assume certain quarterback battles.
Did the model have any input on this?
There's no model. There's
no model? It's just your
brain? This was grit. This was just looking at team by team. College football, 136 of them. 89 out of the 136 college football teams this year are potentially set to be starting a transfer portal quarterback. Not necessarily from this past cycle.
89 of 136.
89 out of 136. That is 65.4%, which is staggering to me. And this is a breakdown necessarily by conference. The ACC, 14 of their 17 quarterbacks are likely going to be portal guys.
Why do you think that is?
In the ACC? I don't know. I mean,
because I think, and sorry for cutting you off, ACC quarterbacks that are good leave for a better conference, opening the door for a lot of people. And I think that's the main reason. It's become a development league for quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think it's got to be, you got to look at it program by program, though, because Clemson got their guy in the class of 2022 with Klubnik, and he's still there. And he's one of the 4 in the ACC that aren't. Clemson's one of the 4 schools that aren't going to start a transfer portal yet.
Yeah, and it'd be Cade Klubnik of Clemson, Kevin Jennings at SMU, and Elijah Brown at Stanford. I also think the bottom half of the ACC, there's not a lot of depth there. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at a conference like the SEC with a lot more depth in terms of just talent, and probably more money, like you said, I mean it's a more desirable place to be for sure. You're not going to leave an SEC school as easily as you would leave a Cal, like Fernando Mendoza leaving to go to Indiana. But If you want to put the graphic back up there again, too, some of these like G5 conferences also interest me, too. Like the Mountain West is right there with the lowest percentage of starting quarterbacks that are going to be transfers. And I think part of that is because you had like 9 coaching changes in the offseason last year.
Right.
So I think,
that plays a role for sure.
That plays a role in having a lesser amount. If you were to say that, this year, I guess like if there were more coaching transfers or coaching hires this year, I would say that like that number would probably be higher. But the Americans right there too, and they hired 6 coaches in this offseason.
Logan, talk to me about finding out you're making the national team or getting the call that you're going to be in the mix. How did that all kind of take place and in your emotions as it was happening?
Yeah, so back in, I don't even remember what month, maybe March or February, I don't know. I went to Colorado Springs it's more of like the open training, I guess you could say, for USA Volleyball, where it's kind of just like getting looks in front of coaches, not expecting much. I was just going there kind of for the training. And Eric pulled me aside while I was there and asked me to come be a part of the long roster for VNL this summer. And I about fell out of my chair. That was the last thing I was expecting him to say to me. But yeah, it's insane. Just such a cool experience, and getting to be in the gym with some of these veterans and people who have played in Olympics, and getting to be around all these coaches who have been there. I mean, even Karch, the former women's national team who's in the gym in Anaheim, like getting to watch him do his thing, and just all sort of little bits and pieces of this experience has been such a great like learning process for me. So.
How supportive has Coach Jamie Morrison been to you throughout this process? He comes from the USA ranks. I imagine this is really cool for him to see his player playing in Rio.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, these are his old stomping grounds. Like this is, we talked on the phone and he was just kind of saying like, this is his old life. Like he used to do the same exact thing I'm doing, just from like a coaching perspective. And so it's just a little full circle moment for him. I mean, I think he knew coming into the Texas A&M job that I knew I wanted to be in the USA gym, and I think he knew that he could get me there. So it's kind of cool to seeing it pay off on both ends for him and for me. So we've been talking a lot. They watched the match last night, and I'm sure they'll continue to watch. So yeah, it's been cool to hear from him.
So we'll start on the hardwood with Bucky McMillan. Had Luke in here to tell me about it because I wasn't familiar with this kid, but seems like an exciting piece to the puzzle and continuing to upgrade the overall scoring ability of the roster.
Yeah, shooting and scoring.
Right.
It's, I would almost say, I mean, obviously some of these guys can really put it on the floor and get to the basket, but even more than scoring, just shooters. And we're just, and this isn't even, I've thought about this before, Bronny. This is not a knock on Buzz. Of course, his teams always seem to lack shooters. I never quite understood. I'd always hoped every offseason, particularly after they lost that game to Penn State in the tournament, well, maybe that'll just get them, just get one just knocked down dead eye from 3-point range and maybe give up a little bit on the defensive end. I mean, or maybe get somebody that could do both, which would be wild. But Josh Carter, Chris Middleton, obviously Middleton went on to be a great NBA player. But since those couple guys, like Turgeon generally didn't have guys that could just knock it down. Chris was one of the exceptions.
Would you say the BK teams were?
They scored more than they shot, to me.
And I think they were more capable from beyond the arc, the depth of it, right? When you look at that.
Yeah, then Buzz and Turgeon.
Hogue,
yeah. And Hogue, you thought was going to be that guy. In certain games, he was.
Mm-hmm.
House, I felt like, still did more of his damage, as a driver, dunker, getting fouled guy. But they could shoot better than the Buzz and Turgeon and Gillespie teams. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, outside of Josh, Billy Clyde's teams weren't shooting the lights out. They were more of the style that Buzz was implementing. So it all won to varying degrees.
Was that a shot at Logan Lee?
Yeah, seriously. But they all won to varying degrees. But like, it's just something we haven't seen a coaching staff really target and identify as what they want, and they're finding it in a lot of different guys and a lot of different ways.
All right, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and then turn that notification bell on for all your TexAgs content on YouTube. We'll see you on the next one.